Finally, we'll again replicate everything we've done in panel C, except for the placement of bundle C on the final magenta budget constraint. Thus we again have the same sized substitution effect from A to B, and the same placement of A and B in the lower panel of the graph. Now, however, we'll place the optimal bundle C, the optimal bundle after the price decrease, to the left of bundle A. Since it still occurs on the shallower magenta budget, a budget with the same slope as the compensated green budget, it'll then occur at the same height in the lower graph as bundle B. But it also occurs to the left of bundle A because the income effect is now bigger than the substitution effect and pointing in the opposite direction. In other words, what we're graphing here is a given good, a special case of an inferior good, where the income effect outweighs the substitution effect. Bundles A and C still represent the consumer's actual behavior, and therefore we again use them to estimate the own price demand curve for this case. Notice that now this own price demand curve is upward sloping, indicating that as the price increases, the consumer buys more of the good. This is in fact the definition of a given good. A given good is a good where, all else being equal, if the price of the good increases, the consumer buys more of it because the income effect outweighs the substitution effect for this special case of an inferior good. Looking across the three panels, we can then see how the slope of the demand curve is changing as the good moves from being a normal good to an inferior good and ultimately a given good. It starts out relatively shallow, becomes steeper, and then actually tips over to be upward sloping in the given good case. Notice that we've illustrated all this by holding the substitution effect constant across the three panels. Substitution effects don't have anything in particular to do with whether a good is normal or inferior or given, and so we could simply say let's assume that the substitution effect stays the same by assuming the same shape for the initial indifference curve. This implied that bundle B was the same across the three panels, but we didn't do anything with bundle B. It's just sitting there as a reference point, with C occurring to the right of it if the good is normal, and to the left of it if the good is inferior. It won't be until chapter 10 that we'll start using bundle B, and the curve that can be created by connecting A and B rather than A and C. For now, we can observe that the only way that our own price demand curve will pass through bundle B is if bundle C lies on top of bundle B, and the only way that occurs is if there's no income effect for the X good. The only way there can be no income effect for the X good is if the X good is quasi-linear, the borderline case between normal and inferior goods.